Dun, dun, dun,
Na na
dun,
na
dun,
na
dun.
na na na
Bum, bum,
na
ba, ba, bum.
na na
Nee,
na
nee,
na
nee, nee.
na na
Meow,
na
meow,
na
nee, nee. Meow, meow,
na
meow, nee.
na.
Hey guys, hello, hello, hello.
Hey,
Wherever you are in your
how you
day,
doing?
12:30 o'clockish in the
It's
old
12:30
studio
o'clock.
586B.
12:30 o'clock.
Studio 586B. We're glad to be here today with the
Studio
hits.
586B coming
Welcome to
back at you with
Studio
the hits.
586B. We are so proud to be playing the classical music Baroque period.
Man, get the Baroque. I want to rock. And
I wanna rock.
I want to
Can we
rock.
talk to D. Schneider? I bet D. Schneider would talk to
D.
us.
Schneider, who's that?
That would be the creator of Twisted. I wanna
Twisted
rock.
Sister.
Yeah, I bet. But one of the things,
Next up,
well, it's the real. So part of the real connect to what we're doing.
right?
But these people,
Yeah, true.
but like we were hesitant out to these.
I
They were
mean,
just people, right? We were overwhelmed by their generosity.
right?
We asked, "Where do you get?" Common question I get: where are you getting these from? And the answer is talking to people.
I had a funny.
What was your answer? On the
Never
black
mind.
market?
On the black market is definitely the.
Okay, there we go.
We're
I don't know
getting
where
them
you
on
were
the
going to go,
black
but something
market.
tells me it
Yeah.
was far worse.
Yes.
What you do is you go on the dark web and you say, "What I need is some people to interview."
I need people to speak to.
No, no,
Yeah.
and just that spoke to people.
And then you give them their number, and then you get hacked.
Stop, stop.
Hacked.
And then we spoke to people
Yes, we did.
that, but why can't we reach out to other people? Same story. Why would other people react differently?
That's a good point. I don't think they would. I think they'd react similarly. I think
You said it right the first time. Quit trying.
yes.
Similarly, it's
Yes, that.
all just a simulation. Is that what you said? There are
It
days.
is.
I think it's all just a simulation. I don't know. I don't
Maybe,
know.
maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
What if you know those really high tech computers we have now that do like the really massive weather,
Right?
like for like they try and figure out exactly what the weather is going to do next and all that
Right.
mapping and modeling, and what if that's what we are? We're
What?
we're just a really big computer that's modeling weather, but in order to model it correctly, you had to have all the people so the exhales so you could tell what the weather was going to do. We're all fake
Why would you make people to tell the weather to people? I'm confused.
because we have an effect on the weather. We're
Yeah,
part of the
but
modeling.
we make people tell the weather to
Not real
people.
people in a computer, buddy. You're not real. I was just suggesting we were discussing being a simulation.
Oh, so you're saying like from Rick and Morty, where they make the universe. He makes a universe to be energy.
Yes. Sure, why not? It's the ridiculousness of it all. Okay, so here's the you got to grasp the ridiculous.
Right?
When we think about next, this weird path we're going on, we embrace our Rick and Morty. We throw it all. I mean, I got notes. I got all kinds of notes. I really need to write this weekend.
Right?
Um, while it's still fresh.
Right?
Not to say we're not doing a bunch, but when you're doing a bunch in a row like that, you start to see pieces. We've talked about the way different people dealt with trauma.
Right?
We've talked about the different ways people expressed where they were at. There were people we knew we'd get to questions 3 through 5, and we knew those were going to be blow offs. They were going to be, whoa, wait a minute, you're separating work, playing, and praying? That's crazy.
Right?
Now, there were other people I knew would.
Yeah. Would
And then the other thing was how many adults were going, you know what? I really should work on making time to play. There were multiple people that were like,
That
how
is
do I
true.
play? I need to do that more. I need to work at that.
Right, because I think most people recognize playing as a valuable thing to do. I think it just becomes harder. It it becomes harder to actually incorporate it
Right.
as you work more, you know? But it I think most people see it as valuable though.
Yeah, but they don't, not valuable enough to put the effort into it
I
because
think
they've been told it's not as valuable. So
mm,
what we like, well, playing is for children. We say that. That's not
right.
why are you, quit being a child.
There's also a reason why children are usually pretty happy.
They play.
Yes.
They're not usually pretty happy. Actually, most of our children seem pretty sad of late. As somebody that spends a lot of time with children,
No, I think children are getting sadder and sadder because they're more grown up now.
that's kind of what I'm trying to. I think the way you help children get back to being children is you, like, how we did 10 questions with Ben
Yeah.
Hayes.
Yeah.
A couple days later, I ran one of the kids that's in the neighborhood I was talking to, and I
Mhm.
said, we were talking about that,
Yeah.
and I said, because I know you guys think about that stuff.
Right.
That as much as we go, oh, let's talk to the adults about where they're from and what they remember and how they work.
Right.
Your kids are working now. Ben Hayes, it was fun because we could talk about his work ethic relative to other things than just school.
Right.
I mean, he's a big climber, and but he's dedicated to that. Right before the show, he showed up with a 10-pound weight vest on and said, "Okay, it's time to go work out." Like, you go for it, kiddo. If anybody ever thinks I'm pushing that 9-year-old, I am not. See the size of my belly. Um, but in talking to this young lady, what I said was, it's important that I think a lot of what you guys are going through, it's important that you feel heard too.
I noticed I was watching it was some video with middle schoolers. They were conversating with each other about different topics and what I noticed was
I love that black people say conversating. Go on.
that's weird.
I know it is.
Anyway,
Who knew, right? But
well no, conversating is a normal phrase to me.
I know it is. And
No.
it's a weird social thing that I've noticed. It literally is
Okay.
it's one of the words that two different groups use differently. Conversating isn't a word I had ever heard.
Really?
Yeah. Until it just wasn't. I didn't think of it as.
No, I got
I
you.
don't know. I just never heard in a lot of usage. I don't mean any
Okay.
offense by
No,
it.
I got you.
No, no, no. It's
I
just
didn't take any offense. I was just
one of
shook.
those. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
why? Go
Um
ahead. I'm so
no, but
sorry.
they were
I
talking about life and stuff and what I noticed was these kids are really really mature for their age. And it seems more and more like kids are getting more and more mature for their age, a lot younger.
I knew a 13-year-old whose primary goal was to get a full-time babysitting job because she knew she could pull in 300-400 bucks a week.
Dang. See, I wish I'd have thought of stuff like that when I was
And
13.
and here's the crazy, but that was her priority.
Right.
It was obvious, and to me, it looked like there was an anxiety, and she was trying to make sure she was secure
Right.
at 13.
No.
I mean, she has a family, a house. I mean,
Right.
it wasn't that. It
Right.
was that there had to be some sense of insecurity that caused her, and a lot of insecurity is such a weird word. It's that whole problem versus challenge. That's everything really is the insecurities in your head. Whether you see it as a problem or a challenge is about how you feel about you. It's not really about how you feel about the problem or the challenge.
I'm almost
Are you
beginning.
up for it?
Right.
Is the real mark
Right.
that makes it a problem or a challenge.
I'm almost beginning to think that how um how mature the children are is a sign of the times. Because okay, basically like I've noticed that some certain time periods the children were like working and they were doing stuff and they were out and
Mm-hmm.
they weren't really in school but they were doing other things.
Yep.
Certain time periods kids were playing around and they were out on their bikes and they were out doing stuff. But
Are
it's
you
like
guys just
like
Ryan?
for
Keep going.
example the Great Depression.
Okay.
Kids were out working. Like for example the 80s. Kids were out on their bikes. So I'm only noticing patterns. That's all I'm doing, and I'm like bringing it to the forefront.
Well, most of our children are playing video games.
Right.
It's not okay.
Right. I
Want to
don't mean that. I don't.
I don't want to
Yeah.
highlight anecdotal evidence as, and I mean, so I don't want to go, oh, and this is what's happening all across, because I don't believe that.
I haven't done any research
That
into this. Trust me.
and but
This
it
is
is
just
interesting you
shooting at the
bring up
hip.
something like the Great Depression.
Right.
A moment in time. I wonder how that would be reacted to now. Now, literally, we've been through something they want to call something like that. I don't, in my head, it wasn't as extreme,
Mm.
but maybe that's perspective.
Right.
And the people that lived through the first one feel that way.
Right. That's possible too.
That you happen to have been here on that scale during that time,
Well,
and you
part
were at
of it
least
is
safe or whatever.
part of it is you're just living your life.
Well,
Whatever
right.
era or period you're
That's
from,
my point.
you're
is
just
that,
living your life. You don't.
okay, yes, I rode my bike in the 80s, but I also lied about my age at 15 to get a job. I also
Right.
worked by the hour for
Right.
my grandfather hauling block at 13. So, I mean, I understand that, but that was more, I wanted to have my own money to spend. It wasn't an amount of money that I'm like, the amount of money is pretty crazy.
Right.
And a lot of it was, especially if kids were on school, parents needed somebody there.
Right.
And so with teenagers off school and younger kids off school, you pay a teenager to be at your house and go to school while your kids are there
Yeah.
going to school. And then that way you can go to work.
So you pay a
So what?
teenager to be at your house while your teenagers are at school.
No, no. God, you're not listening.
That didn't make sense.
That's
Sorry.
because the kids aren't teenagers.
Yeah.
The kids are younger kids.
Yeah.
They're kids in grade school. There's no other teenagers.
Right. I got you.
There's one teenager that they're hiring
Okay.
to be there with their elementary school kids, or
You
maybe
mean
a
while they're not in
baby
school.
while
Okay,
they're.
Got you. Got you.
It was a story about a teenage girl that was her situation.
Right.
That was what she was doing.
Right.
Because the pandemic has kind of escalated the ability to not have to go to school.
Right.
As long as you do it at night, or you can sign up for online classes where you can do it whenever you want. And that made that apparent to people. Like you
Right.
could see that, like, oh, wait a minute, I could go make killer money if I just decide to take online classes.
Right.
If you're 15, 16, yeah. I don't want to overly say every child has anxiety or every person has anxiety or and I tend to project that because that's something I deal with. Something that makes me humble. I tend to want to see people. I want to feel that a lot of understanding yourself is defining your projections. That you've got to understand it was always you all the way down. Those
Right.
things you look out into the world and see the most, that's you. That's the real struggle. And it's been eye-opening talking to people about their outlooks and their perspectives. It was interesting that in the end, and I won't say all, but I'll say the majority felt like they were here for some form of service. To somebody. I'm not defining it as, oh, you know what, all I am about is service. But what I mean is that it was, whether it be family and children, but that a giving thought was the traditional answer for why am I here.
Something other than themselves.
And that's a powerful thing to realize. That's a powerful thing to go, wait a minute. The majority of us are concerned about not what we think everybody's concerned about.
Right.
Really, what they're concerned about is helping each other, being good to each other, oh, I see you, I want to be seen.
Right.
Everybody's kind of latched onto the, be heard. Don't forget to make noise, by the way.
Make
Make
noise.
be
Be
heard.
heard.
But that's kind of the point of what we're doing. We're making noise. And it's just think of it as a generic thought relative to the ways in which we communicate. That the thing I noticed in my world was there were all these people walking around with a ton of resentment.
Mm.
It's kind of the root of where's the line. We talked endlessly about the idea that everybody's resenting everybody because they're not not talking about it. Why didn't you do this for me?
Right.
But you didn't even tell me that was something you needed.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if you look out, you see people that would like to help each other, but we're all afraid. Ask for help. That when you look deeper into that, you go, wait a minute. The piece that's missing, how we value ourselves.
I think it's how we value ourselves, and also, I think we need to make no. I
Oh.
think we need
Who
I think
knew?
we need to make more of an effort to communicate with each other, and to put more energy into communication.
So I have, with some embarrassment, I have to admit something that I find disappoints me deeply.
Disappoint.
Well, there are 7 continents on this planet.
7 of them.
7 of them.
Jeez, that's
Antarctica
a lot
even
of
is a continent.
continents. Wow.
Let's see if we can name them. Antarctica, North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia.
There you go.
Okay. But here's the problem.
What's the problem?
Talk to Africa.
Right?
Talk to North America.
Yep.
Talk to Europe.
Yep.
This could go bad. Talk to Australia. South America, Asia, and Antarctica.
Talk to South.
We have.
Well,
we didn't
yeah.
on Monday.
Yeah.
I went around the world and missed 3 continents.
That's okay.
It's embarrassing.
No, that's not embarrassing.
A disappointment of
That's
wealth.
not embarrassing.
A wealth of disappointment.
A
veritable
disappointment of wealth.
cornucopia of
No, a
continents.
disappointment of wealth. You said it right the first time. Didn't have to say it again.
A veritable cornucopia of continents. Okay, I'm not really embarrassed. Maybe
He may be a little facetious.
Maybe a little facetious. There's a possibility. You the rabbit. Anyway, but in all seriousness, I'd like us to start working on talking to somebody on every continent every week. Okay.
Okay.
Or okay. Cool. He's agreeable. Never mind.
We can try and figure that out.
The hardest part is Antarctica. Maybe we have to hit all.
Antarctica's-
Okay, 7. I don't know.
I think at least 6 we can.
My point is,
if we could find a scientist or something. That's when
I have a connection.
I got you.
I got a guy.
Yeah.
I got a guy.
I got a guy.
Everybody's got. You gotta have a guy. You don't have an Antarctica guy?
I might have a guy, but I don't know.
I got an Antarctica guy.
If
At
I
a minimum-
ask, if
at a
I
minimum-
ask a person who knows a person, there's probably a person who knows
that
a
cheesy
person.
South Pole brand?
Yeah.
Somewhere around here, I have a not cheesy South Pole brand.
Why
South
is
Pole jacket.
why is
Because
one
my
of
brother
them?
bought me a jacket in Antarctica
I have a question.
when he was at the scientific station.
Why is one of them considered a continent and the other one isn't?
One's ice, one has land under it.
Oh, okay. So one is just
The more you
literally
know.
just ice,
Well, it's not. If I think
or
I don't want to
ice
speak.
and water, maybe something.
Ice
Some
and water.
combination. Ice and exactly. Ice and water. There you go. There you go.
Any steam?
And
If we're gonna point out, how about some rain?
some condensation.
Yeah. Lately, there's been condensation up there. That's not good. You don't want condensation on the ice.
No.
That means it's melting.
I forget that one.
Well, so my point is, no one left behind. I need to figure out. I want to be able to do 10 questions with a bunch of kids, but I don't know how to do that in a way that's
Reasonable.
well. Yeah, that part of me wonders if this fall we reach out to schools and I do it with classrooms.
Maybe that's an idea.
You know that the hard part is
Well, the hard part is how do you balance like a class full of people, or do you give them the questions beforehand or something? Like,
that's
what do
easy.
you?
Oh,
What do you
that
do?
and then I like that. Then you read the answers instead of the kids reading them.
Right.
That
You give them a sheet or something like that.
well, then you come in and talk to them.
Yeah, and then you
But you
come
don't
in and
tell
talk
anybody
to
what anybody
them.
else has answered. I mean,
Right, right,
or whatever.
right.
Or you let to yell out some answers. You know, like we get some sound from them, but then we
Right,
create a show around snippets of them giving answers and snippets, and then we go through it or something.
That'd be
I don't know.
That'd be something to pitch to NPR. You really.
Well,
really
but I
sell that.
think so. One of the big things that came out of this was, don't get me wrong, the answers get more complex the older you get. There are fewer. No, it's so the funny thing was the relative answers were I have a bunch of friends that identified with most of Bent Hayes's I don't knows. That as a 9-year-old goes, I don't know. Some adults eventually make it back to that. But it is, and that was interesting to me. That was powerful to me. That it was start at the beginning. First interview of the night. Anthem Republic. Musician, activist. What an amazing guy.
Yeah.
You're not gonna give me much.
He really is an
There you
amazing
go.
guy. Yeah.
What else do you have to say about Anthem?
I
buddy?
got more words.
Have you guys been
Okay.
working? Have you been talking?
Well, I've been trying to. It's kind of difficult with the time difference.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Uh,
Have you? His WhatsApp number is on the chat.
Oh, okay. Okay,
and,
I'll
and
look
so
for
literally
it.
you can just call him on that. And I mean, if you call him
I'll go look for
after
it. I'll call him at
may
night,
know-
right?
no, you may know this. Best time to call him is after midnight.
After mid. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But if,
That makes sense.
because then it's 7 o'clock in
Then
the
it's
morning.
like he just woke up.
Here's what you remember: it's 7 o'clock in the morning if you call him at midnight.
Right.
What that means is now you know the rest of the day.
Right.
24 hours.
That means if I call him early in the morning.
24-hour
or-
clocks make this a lot easier. So if you
Yeah.
call him at 7 in the morning,
That
it'll
means
be 2
7. That means it's 7 now for him.
at night. You mean?
7 at night. Yeah.
Well, if it was noon right now,
Yeah. Well.
yeah,
Yeah. Basically,
you remember. So
be
you,
about 7:30.
you start remembering Kenya's a +7,
Right.
Slovakia +6.
It'll take me a minute to remember.
I think
that
England's
stuff.
+5. For some reason, I think 7, 6, 5.
It'll take me a minute to get there, but it's gonna be easy with
that makes
passing
sense.
passing stuff back and forth between people in different time zones and communicating with people.
I'll tell
in
you a
different time
secret.
zones.
Figure out their
So-
mode of communication, and you find a place where you guys share a space,
Mm.
and that way you can continue to work on a project even when the other person isn't there.
Right.
So in other words, you send stuff back and forth, or you create an open.
Right.
We actually can create an open space. I don't know if you know this.
I don't know if I can send files through
No,
WhatsApp.
I'm going to tell you.
What? Tell me.
You can set up private rooms on our Facebook page
Okay.
that you leave open so that each person can go in and out. There's video calling inside of it. There's sharing. So the interesting thing about Facebook, and part of the reason we use it is because it has those tools. It has competed with each of the. Every time somebody comes up with something new, it either bought it or made a thing that did that.
Yeah.
So it has Zoom rooms.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you build the room,
Right.
and then you can leave it open,
Right.
but you can make it private by invitation.
Right.
So you can create a room on Facebook, and Anthem's on Facebook. WhatsApp's owned by Facebook.
Right.
So you can, or there's a variety of other ways.
Variety.
Google
of
Drives.
Right.
Anyways, we're into the weeds.
different-
So one of the things that came out of that is you're looking forward. working
making
with him
some
on
music,
making some
yes.
music, and we're looking forward
I'm
to
looking
talking
forward
to
to
him
that.
again. Anthem has an amazing story. And he's down with it in the sense, and I don't mean that as far as down with telling us a story. I mean he's down with his story. He owns it.
Right,
Like he problem versus challenge.
right.
He's not running away from the complexities of his life. He's actively going, okay, so how do I change this?
Right.
And as we know, every movie we've ever watched, what it takes is a good song, and the man has a good song. Anthem, we love you. I'm just. Then we talked to David Hayes, my brother, my
Uh-huh.
big brother.
Uh-huh.
You know what? And it was, I find it's interesting. There's been a conversation inside the family about other people relating to the feeling of I don't want to do something that doesn't have. I don't want to be involved in something that I'm not involved in. I'm tired of. It's a desire to not go through the motions. I'd rather say screw it than plod along for years doing something I don't care about. I'd rather do something I care
I'd
about.
rather do something I care about than
Well, I suppose
yeah.
I could admit my daughter reached out to me, and and she may have said that actually on the interview.
she might have said
We'll
something
get to her.
similar to that. Yeah.
She might have said something like, no, I think she
Something like
said
that, yeah.
when David was on the phone, I related to blah blah
Right.
blah blah. Blah.
Right.
But yeah, as much as I don't emote that thought, I am doing this.
I very much emote that thought to the
But do you know what I
point
mean?
to the to the point that people sometimes look at me and they're like, "Dude, do you even do anything?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just don't talk about it. I do stuff."
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like,
If people didn't at least see us 45 minutes a day, they'd be honest. On the days we're not on air, everyone's like, well, they don't do nothing.
right.
I don't know what's
Right.
up with those guys, man.
Right.
They're just bums. Just bums.
I'm trying to not be a bum.
Smells
But
like a damn ashtray down there.
I'm trying to not
You ever been down in that basement?
I'm trying to not
Smell
be
like
a
a damn
bum,
ashtray.
and it's hard to broadcast everything. And also, I don't want to broadcast
Dude,
everything.
you see
Part of it.
they claim they work and they got a 55-inch TV in that office straight across from that idiot.
I don't know what that has
You
to
telling
do.
me he's working?
I don't know what that has to
Okay,
do
okay.
with not working.
You're telling me them 3 screens over there aren't about some damn video game or some stupid stuff? You know he ain't doing no work. Look at that. He got a damn Hulk
Listen,
mask.
man. Only people that have 3 screens are people that are working or people that are playing video
He's got
games.
a Hulk mask.
There is the possibility for both, okay? They can exist together. They can live together
I have a
in
dream.
harmony. I have a dream.
And I'm a bit of a romantic. That's the whole thing right there.
Yeah.
So, and then we talked to Grant.
Yeah.
Listen here. I would talk to, I don't know why that is. He reminds me of a good friend of mine that I was in Thailand with 30 years ago named Nigel. To a T. And the best is as he's, rugby over Aussie football, and what's that stupid game you guys play where you just flip the ball around? It's just no, that's Aussie football where they flip
Aussie
it.
football.
Aussie
Yeah.
football's a flick game.
See that really sounds like a. Oh no, they throw it over their back.
Yeah, everybody can throw if it's lateral.
Oh,
So you do a lot of
so
throwing
it's-
it across the
okay.
field as you go. That's what he's talking about.
So it's okay.
The rule is only the halfback can throw forward, or maybe they call it a quarterback. And you know what? We got
One of them
confused with that too.
rules.
Anyways,
One of them.
the point is, we went from so we only got 5 questions done with Grant.
Yeah.
Bloody never mind.
Oh
Oh my God! Thank God it was 2:30 to 4 a.m. on the East Coast our
Yup.
time, and Grant was of course getting up for the morning.
If
and
there was a video that's getting demonetized, it's that one.
no, not at all.
That's okay.
No, it's beautifully said. Everything he
It's
says
okay.
is nice.
No.
Nothing offensive except
It's no, it's
in
not.
our
It's not
soci-
offensive.
in our
It's not
society
offensive.
some of the words.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
But it's
no
not
one,
no. He's
I
a
don't
good
think-
dude, man.
Nobody in our community is going to
He's a good
demonetize
dude.
that. Who knows? Maybe someday, if
Yeah.
we're lucky, maybe someday we don't know. Somebody tries, and I'll be like, "No, you bloody."
And that's that.
So then we moved to financial stuff. He and I had a deep conversation about the oil situation in the world.
Yeah, I was
and,
completely lost.
but I loved it.
It was a
Oh,
good
I loved
conversation
it.
to just listen to.
I-
Sometimes I zone out and just listen.
Because I one of the things that was fun was finding other people to talk about just weirdness. I pay attention. I don't know how to shut down part that
Wants to talk about
people call mindful. In my head, I've got mindful and I've got monkey, and they're both going as fast as they can.
mindful and monkey difference,
So all of this is being absorbed.
right?
Mindful.
Right.
Monkey's up here though, going. I bet I could type Shakespeare. And so everything that comes in is related. It's tangential.
Okay.
So there's always all of this is connected to all of that, but it's all
Yeah, I'm still confused.
well. So that what? Me too.
I'm sorry.
That's my point. No,
That's my point.
no. Actually, it isn't. That it's all filed. I mean, it's not
Right.
like I'm sitting around thinking about discussing the Venezuelan oil situation right now. But I can have that conversation
Right.
just because I don't know why I know.
You're kind of sort of paying
No,
attention.
but I
to
don't.
it, maybe.
How? You've watched me. What am I friggin' paying attention to?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
Oh,
How do I end up with? I don't know where it comes from, guys.
How do we end up with radio silence? I don't know.
No. The silence was I was using negative space.
Yeah,
I
I
was
know.
thinking.
I know. That's why I was. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but really and I can't wait to have Grant back on because I mean, that's just a
Yeah,
blast.
so cool.
So then we head off to London town. We talked to
London
Michael
calling.
Anchors.
Yeah.
And first, I got to figure out a little bit of the sound quality thing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go. I need to hear Michael just a little bit clearer so that I can, because I
Yes.
felt like I was losing the ends of words.
Yes.
But at the same time, God, what an amazing conversation and a beautiful heart. You know, that God, as he was talking about his childhood memories and going through the places he'd been and just be that he's embraced who he is. And I don't mean that as far as for those of you that don't know, Michael is autistic. I don't mean that. And that's not who he is.
Right.
Michael Anchors.
Right.
He's not the music. He's not the going to the pub with his buddies.
Right. All of those things are part of him.
But there's this he has this beautiful heart that's about wanting to see and hear other people.
Right.
And the same thing we get over and over again. And wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard.
Right.
You know, what a beautiful message. When I think of how he feels about autism, I think about how I feel about anxiety.
Okay.
That I think of it as you kind of turn it into your superpower so that my anxiety is like an electrical a signal, a thing that tells me to remember to be humble.
Mm.
That you know what, don't think too highly of yourself because other realities are a possibility.
I don't. I think. I think it's valuable to think of yourself as a person. Like, not, not as a. Like it's just having the thought of I am a person. I exist. I take up space.
Well, it was we were
Just
talking.
having that thought.
Well, we
you
were
know?
talking to Tiff during the music show and also available on the 10 questions. And what we were talking about is she feels like she's finding her voice and coming into the world.
Right.
And we were talking about the idea of you have to build a space for yourself where you're comfortable before you try to start dancing with other space.
Right.
Letting somebody into your space is hard, and part of it is knowing what's
what's
yours.
your space. Yes.
Well, no, as simple as what's yours.
Yes.
So that because I mean we all get it's the trope on every sitcom.
Well,
We all get into relationships where we change ourselves thinking let's be what this other person wants.
how do you collaborate with people who don't know who you
That's why I wasn't always impressed by Michael Jackson's
the
work.
answer is you don't.
But anyway,
The answer is you don't.
Well,
You no. You can still collaborate
I get what
tangibly,
you're no,
but
I get what you're saying.
but you
though.
don't
It's
end
not-
up collaborating. You end up absorbing, and that's a
but
different
it's
thing.
Not, so I'm thinking of a rapper we know and the amount of producers he uses and whether or not he's even in the studio half the time. And don't get me wrong, it's a collaboration. But what we're trying to create is something, when we say collaboration, when we're talking about the studio, We're talking about sharing the joy of creation and making stuff together, where it's a very different.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the other isn't,
Yeah.
because we're getting ready to do a bunch of that with Anthem to some extent. That we got to move stuff back and forth, and yeah,
Right.
we're gonna have live conversations,
Right.
but
I think a lot of collaboration is more about making sure that the energy is there. And
want energy.
I don't think
I know how to give you energy. Have you heard that Cleveland rocks?
what?
So then we talked to Jeff Bullock. That was a hips. That was like a hip check.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
and Jeff is an amazing guy. It's funny, he reached out to me. He's got so that, and I knew this. There are explanations. Everybody we ask these 10 questions to, there'll be a moment where I suddenly go, like I just did to Ross, that, it feels like I'm in the same, and then I ask the next question.
Yeah.
Because in the end, we're trying to get through the 10 questions, not because we don't want to hear the rest,
Yeah.
but because we do.
That doesn't make any sense at all, but continue though.
Because what happens is
Continue.
everybody goes, can I come back? I have some other stuff I want to say.
You know what? I'm annoyed by this person sometimes. Cuz sometimes you are going straight and then you just swerve. You just like, and then
No,
I'm like, oh snap, the turn made sense. But like it didn't make sense when I saw him do it
me either.
until
No, 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 no.
yeah, like it didn't make sense until after like I saw the turn and I was like, "Oh, snap, that made more sense with the route." You know, like
But I would love to go, and this was my obvious plan. My obvious plan. Dun, dun, dun.
right. So, Jeff.
That, and it was beautiful because he reached out and said that,
Mhm.
and I was like, ha, feature not fault. I didn't build the 10 questions to build that feature to make that work.
Right.
It just
Just
it
happened.
evolved that way.
Just sort of kind of
Well,
happened.
yeah.
And
Makes you want to run upstairs. Jeff,
then we
I don't want
had
to run upstairs. I don't want to run upstairs. I'll go watch Jeff run upstairs. That just sounds crazy.
Jeff Winger.
No, Jeff Bullock from
No,
Cleveland.
I know. I was being facetious again.
I know. So then we talked to our gamer,
Talked to
Ben
gamer.
Hayes.
Yes.
Like, I'm so excited to be doing stuff with him. For those of you that don't know, this is my grandson. I'm not going to deny that. But this is a separate
Right.
entity. He's got we're building a persona.
Right.
So I don't feel comfortable with the idea of a 9-year-old being on the internet as a Twitch streamer.
I get it. I totally understand that. The internet sucks.
That the Twitch stream will be under Ben Hayes,
Yeah.
but we'll build it with me as the face.
Right.
Because that's what we've always done. And with all of everything going on, it's been hard to find time.
Right.
So my current answer is, well, what we're going to do is we'll make that part of the schedule.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna find some time for that.
And for those of you that are wondering if I'm desperately trying to make money off a 9-year-old, no, any money that would be associated with any of those endeavors would would go to a trust fund. That, you know what, in my head, that start saving at 9, you should be able to retire by 30.
Yeah, should be. Yeah, sounds valid.
That rationally, if you want to beat the system. I mean, we're literally running a system right now where companies will pay people to watch other people's stuff. Hey man, crank it up. No, I'm not asking you to spend your money. I'm just asking you to go watch.
Right.
It's the most literally like, oh, we're handing out money. You look at our current system, there's no way it's sustainable. That literally corporations are paying every last one of us for content.
Yes.
All they want to do is give us money for our content. If we could just convince other people to watch our content so they can sell ads for cheaper than they sell them on TV.
Yep.
Now, admittedly, if
They're
suddenly this
making-
got popular and Pluto wanted to put this on TV, I have more episodes than any of those stupid channels they've got, and they're all set at 45 minutes and we'll cut them up. I could do 24 hours of shows that never repeat. I could do 48 hours. No, wait a minute. I can do 110 hours of TV broadcast without repeating, because the 45-minute show is set at a 44-minute ratio, which is how you set hours of TV programming. 44 minutes of content, 18 minutes of advertising. 6 3-minute
Speaking
blocks.
of 44,
I know where we're
we're
at.
at 40. So,
The point is,
no, I got you.
we've gotten to the morning. You know what? Ben Hayes is something that blows my mind every day. This is an exciting project that he came up with. It's something he's always wanted to do. We have played Fortnite together for years now. When I broke my back, he made sure he leveled my character so that I could get,
A certain skin or
yeah,
something like that.
oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
He's always, anyways. So it's a joy we want to share with the world.
Right.
If you look at, and I mean, we're only going to make it this far, unfortunately. I promise I will thank everybody else because of this. I could go through each and every one and go, this is what I got out of this. Good.
Right.
That's
valuable. That's meaningful. That's definitely.
It is. That, you know what? In the end, stories. Joy. I'm trying to share our joy. But in the end, who expected that? Who the hell knew we even had joy? We have sought help for not having joy. There have been days we've sat in here and said, dude, I got no energy and I've got to carry you today too. No, I got no joy. But when you look at the projects that we are most passionate about, the projects I am most passionate about, I don't mean to project. When it comes down to like a music show that has no form, or Ben Hayes and I playing a video game that there's a randomness to, or this, our joy of discovery, or the interviews, the joy of just feeling that connected, making that something people go, wow, that looks joyful.
Right.
What are they doing different over there? Why is that idiot smiling? Damn. And then he got me. I was trying to not do it so that you'd be the idiot smiling. And then he busted out the biggest grin. And I'm like, yeah.
It's like, yeah, I should smile too.
Okay. I'm addicted to the Dalai Lama's smile. And may he rest in peace, Desmond Tutu's smile. That they had that just constant. They're watching the ridiculousness
pure
of
joy type thing going on. Nah, there's like a blissfulness that I've seen in certain people. Like I've seen it in certain like older people.
No, wait a minute.
Sometimes.
But you haven't even noticed it in us lately?
I've noticed it in us.
Did you notice it on Monday?
In us. Yeah.
Where there were moments where it would just lift you. You were like,
well, we were excited going into it.
Oh, absolutely.
And we were excited all the way through.
How it ended with an hour of not appropriate jokes, I don't know, but it seemed like the right place to be at the time.
It definitely did. It was really fun.
Oh, shouts out to Josh Garrison and Unusual Buddha. I look forward to more of that. And it is not good for me to suddenly realize I could have like conversations with a gigaton of people all at once.
Right.
All I gotta do is turn mute you on and off.
You're gonna go crazy. Call up a football team or something crazy.
Well, the ability to live in a need to, because need to. We're already connected. I'm not gonna go into them or those. Wise friend told me today, you know what? It's not about politics. It's not about religion. It's about people being people. You know what? My point is, we love you, and what an amazing. I promise I will have stuff up and scheduled for next week. I know I have laid on my butt this week, done absolutely nothing this week because Memorial Day was on the weekend. So now in the week, we did a couple shows. We're gonna do a show tonight.
We're gonna do a show tonight.
Right?
Yes, we are gonna do a show
at 6.
Yes, we're doing a show at 6. We're talking to
ZZ Top.
MZZ.
MZZ.
Yes.
MZZ.
Yes. EMZEEZY.
No, not buzz. Buzz. MZZ, not BZZ. Buzz.
MZ. No, it's not the M. It starts with an E.
M's. EMZZ.
I don't know.
So is it spelled EMZZ?
EM. I spelled. Hold on. EMZEEZY. It's literally spelled MZZ. The others, the first Z
Okay.
is backwards because I tried to write with my right
MZZ?
hand, but
One MZ. MZZ.
I'm gonna ask him how to pronounce it. though,
MZZ.
just to make
Later
sure.
today, 6
I'm
o'clock.
shooting at the
folks.
hip from right now.
Oh,
for right now.
MZZ.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
MZZ sounds like MZ.
Sounds
yeah,
easy.
ZZ. ZZ. Thank you, everybody. Y'all come back now.
He had two for
Echo.